Welcome back. We've got more breaking transfer news and it involves Chelsea. Straight to Gary Cottrell, who's out in Naples where they're playing in the Champions League this evening, and it's news of a departure. Gary, what can you tell us?
Yeah, massive news here in Naples this evening ahead of this decisive Champions League game. News, though, but perhaps we've been expecting, but it's now been confirmed by Chelsea that Raheem Sterling and Chelsea have parted company today by mutual agreement. This is the statement that's just been issued by Chelsea. Raheem Sterling has today departed Chelsea Football Club by mutual agreement, bringing to an end his 3.5 seasons as our player, and it continues. Having signed in the summer of 2022, and of course he was the first blue chip flagship signing of the new owners. It cost just under 50 million, about 47.5 million, I think, from memory. Having signed, it says, the statement, in the summer of 2022, we thank Raheem for his contribution, and we wish him well in the next step of his career. So, in summary, a little bit of a hash of the statement there, but you can see what they're saying, that he has left the club, that it's by mutual agreement, that he's had 3.5 seasons as a Chelsea player, and that they wish him well for the future. They say 3.5 seasons. Of course, first season he did well, second season did well, the third season was surplus requirements, went on loan to Arsenal where things didn't go according to plan, and then of course this season no appearances whatsoever, not even training with the first team squad in the so-called bomb squad, looking to leave the club at 29 years of age, wants a new challenge, and he's now, by the looks of it, got that challenge at 31 years of age, by the way, to correct myself. By mutual agreement, that means that contract at about £325,000 a week has been torn up. That benefits Chelsea, who don't want to pay that sort of money for a player that they don't want anymore, and obviously it's been decided by Raheem Sterling and his people that it benefits him because he can find a new challenge. We know for family reasons he preferred to stay in the London area. He's turned down moves before because they haven't suited his domestic requirements in terms of his lifestyle. It remains to be seen now where he'll be heading, but we can confirm here in Naples tonight that finally Raheem Sterling is leaving Chelsea after a season at Arsenal didn't work out, and looking for pastures new. Club and player agree to terminate his time at the club.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks for breaking that for us. Right, I mean, it's come to an end, this saga, finally, by the sounds of it. And really, was this the only option to happen? And is this also the most sensible option for both of them?
I think it is, and we don't know the details of the finances. I mean, Kaveh Solokol was telling us yesterday on Sky Sports News on the transfer show that the total value of Raheem Sterling's contract remaining was in excess of £20 million. So these are big numbers we're talking about here. He was in excess of £300,000 a week and wasn't playing. So it was a problem for him, it was a problem for Chelsea, and they've come to some agreement, some compromise between them where he's not going to get £20 million, but he's had some payoff to pay up the rest of his contract. And it means he's free to sign wherever he wants now. He can take his time in assessing his next move. He's not tied to the transfer window now. And nobody out there should think he's got to try and get a move in the next 5 days. He can take his time, take stock and talk to clubs beyond here for the rest of the season. It's just extraordinary that 3 seasons ago, Raheem Sterling was one of the best and most potent players in the Premier League. 3 years ago, England built their entire team around him for the World Cup in Qatar. 3 years ago, he was England's second highest scorer behind Harry Kane of the players that went to that World Cup. Gareth Southgate built his squad around him. He was absolutely key. And then he flew home. He asked for permission to fly home from that tournament because his house had been burgled back at home. We then heard that the police said there weren't any armed robbers that they were aware of. There weren't any firearms obvious. And they also said that the family weren't at home as well. And that led to some disagreements, I think, with the FA and with Gareth Southgate in particular. And ever since then, Raheem Sterling has been in the doldrums. He tried that loan move to Arsenal, scored 1 goal for them. The last game he played, I mean, he's been in the bomb squad at Chelsea, but no, the last game he played was May the 25th. For a player of his calibre, who should be at the peak of his powers, at the peak of his career, 31 years old, it's a travesty that he's not playing football right now. And if the outcome of all of this means that Raheem Sterling moves somewhere else in the next few weeks at some point, gets himself settled, gets himself playing football again, that's good for him. But you know what? It's great for every football fan. It'd be great to see him back playing at full tilt in the Premier League.
Where do you think he'll end up?
I think the issue now is there'll be no end of clubs that are interested in taking him, but there will be nobody prepared to pay him £300,000 a week. He will have to take a huge pay cut from here, Raheem Sterling, to continue his career wherever he goes. It's pretty clear that he wants to live in the southeast. He's had opportunities to move elsewhere in the country and turn those down. He wants to be with his family, and his family is very, very important to him. So his domestic situation is going to play a big part in the next decision that he makes, I think. In truth, he's a very rich man. He doesn't need the money. And so you can understand maybe why his family comes first from him. But it'll be really interesting to see, after 2 years of not playing very much football, which club is prepared to take a punt on him and say, we know how good you are, we know how good you can be, we're going to take the risk and hope that you can find that form again with us.
I think the phone won't stop ringing now for Raheem Sterling, only because he didn't want to do another loan. He wanted to be a permanent move. Now, that was kind of going to be a little bit unlikely because of the contract he still had at Chelsea. If you think about a potential loan move that could have happened, because he's still got 18 months left on his contract, the wages issue then comes into play. Now, ideal scenario, if a club loans a player out to another club, they want that club to cover the wages. No club is going to cover £325,000 a week. Even if you add to that, right, let's come to a compromise and we'll go 50-50. A club will still think, well, we don't want to pay £160,000 a week. So now there is this mutual termination, by the sounds of it. He's now a free agent. Now it will go from no base at all from what his wages are at Chelsea, because he's no longer on those wages. It will then be up to the club and him to decide what kind of wages he will take and what kind of football he wants to play and what level he wants to play at. So you would think now Raheem Sterling will have a number of choices, I think, not only at home but abroad as well.